Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome everyone to Receiving Noor weekly Quran class. We are continuing to study Surah 14, Ibrahim, peace be upon him. And this is our fourth session on the Surah. And is there anybody who wants to share anything about the Surah, about the classes we had so far? Anything that stayed with you? Feel free to share now. Or you may share at the end as well. Okay, so then we will turn to Sister Yamina to lead us in tonight's session. Jazakallah khair. Bismillah.
Thank you, Isra. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. This is our fourth meeting this year, 2017, and we've been reflecting on Surah 14, Surah Ibrahim alayhi salam, and we stopped at Ayah 8 last week when we were told وقال موسى إن تكفروا أنتم ومن في الأرض جميعا فإن الله لغني حميد. And Moses said, if you deny the truth, it was translated as if you deny the truth, you and whoever else lives on earth, all of you, truly God is self-sufficient, ever to be praised. And we made the connection between, in this surah and before, the connection between ingratitude and denial. So, kafara, kafirun, takfuru is translated in different contexts. When it is juxtaposed with belief, it is translated as denial. And in other contexts, like in Ayah 7, because it starts وَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ, if you are thankful, then kafara is translated as if you are ungrateful. And in this surah, actually, I would put both, but I think that the context indicates ingratitude more than denial, although we know that they are both connected. So I would say Moses said, if you should be ungrateful, and when you are ungrateful, there is no way you can believe. And we can find this based on the names of God mentioned at the end of the Ayah 8, Ghaniyun Hamid, Inna Allah la Ghaniyun Hamid. We find the same name mentioned at the end of Surah 12 of, Ayah 12 of Surah Luqman, Surah 31, when we're told, and indeed we granted wisdom unto Luqman, وَلَقَدْ أَتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ. Be grateful unto God. So the wisdom that was granted to Luqman alayhi salam was, be grateful to God alone. وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. So for whoever is grateful, he is grateful for his own good, and whoever is ungrateful, but it is kafara, truly God is Ghaniyun Hamid, the same names. God is self-sufficient, ever to be praised. And of course, praising and self-sufficiency is about gratitude primarily. But as we had mentioned, the more intentionally and consciously we are grateful to God alone, the more we get to know Him and love Him and trust Him and worship Him alone, in ease and in hardship. And when we are ungrateful, we are covering the blessings We don't see the blessings in whatever is going on, whether we like it or dislike it. And so we cannot see the connection with our Rabb, with the Creator, with the Maker, with the Sustainer. And so we cannot be at the same time in a state of ingratitude and believe in God. The next area is Ayah 9. In Ayah 9, we are told, have you not heard about those who went before you? The people of Noah, of Nuh alayhi salam, and Ad and Thamud, and of those who lived after them, known only to God. Their messengers came to them with clear evidence, with bayina, but they put their hand into their mouths and tried to silence them, saying, behold, we refuse to believe in the message with which you were sent. And behold, we have disturbing doubts concerning that to which you call us. أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ نَبَأُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ قوم نوح وعاد وثمود والذين من بعدهم لا يعلمهم إلا الله جاءتهم رسلهم بالبينات فردوا أيديهم في أفواههم وقالوا إنا كفرنا بما أرسلتم به وإنا لفي شك مما تدعوننا إليه مريب. So in Ayah 5, if you remember, Musa alayhi salam was asked to remind his people of Ayyam Allah. Literally the days of God that refer to important events, especially in the human history. And in this area, in Ayah 9, we are now, the audience now, is reminded of Ayyam Allah. We are reminded of these people, the people of Nuh alayhi salam, of Ad, of Thamud, who lived before and about whom we don't know much, save what God knows, and how they reacted to their messengers, their Rasul. So we thought, have you not heard about those who came before you, the people of Noah, Ad, and Thamud, and those who lived after them, known only to God? Their messengers came to them with clear evidences, but they put their hand into their mouth and they tried to silence the messengers. And they said, behold, we refuse to believe in the message. Inna kafarna, and there is inna, there is this emphasis. We don't want to believe in the message with which you were sent. And behold, we have disturbing doubts concerning whatever you are calling us to. So although their prophets called onto them with clear evidences, they put their hands on their mouth. This is a metaphorical, it's an idiomatic expression, let's say. They put their hands on their mouth because of their denial. I'll go back to this expression. Because of, why did they do that? Because they deny and they are unwilling to surrender to their Rabb. And so they replied, we refuse to be grateful. We refuse to believe. I'm using the kafara in both its meanings. If they refuse to believe, it means they refuse to be grateful to God alone. And refuse to believe in whatever you have brought us, they say. And we are in doubt of what you call us for. And how would it be possible for us to accept your call despite our doubt? So there is a circular reasoning, if you can see here. They say we are in doubt. Despite the clear evidences, they say we are in doubt. And then they say, how can we believe when we have these disturbing doubts? But their doubts are not based on true, sincere doubts. Their doubts is because they have no intention to surrender anyway. They have no intention to believe anyway. And then they use that their same doubt as a reason for not believing, which is like circular. Why do they have these disturbing doubts about the message? Because obviously it took away their peace of mind. They refuse to reassess their claims about God and their so-called belief in God. And so the evidences are so clear that they cannot refute them. At the same time, they don't want to surrender to the reality that they are created, that they are ibad, meaning that they are being sustained here and now, and they are totally dependent on their Rabb's creativity and sustainership or sustaining. And therefore, if this is the case, if they are totally dependent on their Rabb, only He, the Rabb, owns their life. And only He knows the purpose of their being here on earth. And therefore, the least they can do is to listen to His guidance, and eventually the only reasonable way is to live accordingly. But they find this disturbing because they want to live their life as they choose to. Remember in Ayah 3 of Surah Ibrahim, we were told يستحبون الحياة الدنيا على الآخرة, meaning they love this worldly life over the hereafter. So here they say that the expression they are using وَإِنَّ لَفِي شَكٍّ مِّمَّا تَدْعُونَنَا إِلَيْهِ مُرِيبٍ. In Arabic there is shak and there is raib, and usually both of them are translated as doubt, but usually they have different connotations. Shak refers to doubt, as we know, skepticism, while raib refers to doubt mixed with suspicion, mixed with accusation, and therefore it involves some, the disturbing comes from there, that raiba, anxiety, comes from the same word as well. And murib is something that causes unsettling, as Zamakhshari says in his tafsir al-Kashaf, he says, أراب المريب هو موقع في الريبة. It is like an attitude when you are in a state of raiba. And that raiba is وهي القلق, قلق النفس. There is an anxiety. And وأن لا تطمئن إلى الأمر. You are not, you find the situation disturbing. So doubt may actually pave the ground for sincere researching and eventually finding the truth and accepting the truth, because you truly have questions and you are looking for answers. So doubt, shak, can be constructive and useful. However, raib especially, especially here, raib is expressed in the face of clear evidences. And in the case of Musa alayhi salam, it is expressed, the evidences there could be also the miracles, for instance, the parting of the sea for saving the people of Musa alayhi salam. They saw the miracle as well. So this kind of doubt is destructive in the sense that it is obstinate. They have no intention to accept the truth anyways, so they are making excuses. They are unwilling to change their way of life, even if their way of life is harmful and destructive for themselves. For in this life, and especially as far as akhirah is concerned, and akhirah means it looks to their eternal life. And just this should be alarming, but not to people in this with this attitude, because they do not truly believe in akhirah, or they don't have the intention they don't believe truly. They don't have that certainty of akhirah, so they cannot appreciate what's going on. They cannot appreciate the gravity of the situation, the magnitude and the importance of their choosing the life, this worldly life, over akhirah. And remember, choosing this worldly life over akhirah is not like this worldly life or akhirah. It is this worldly life only, or this life as connected to akhirah. Living here and now in this life with the certainty of akhirah, with witnessing the signs that indicate akhirah, that point to alim al-ghaib and to eternity. So their messengers came to them with clear evidence, bayinat, but they put their hands into their mouth and tried to silence them. So actually, raddu aydihim fi afwahihim can be understood in various ways. It could be that the people, the dissidents here, shut the mouths of the messengers, because the is not, it depends how it is interpreted. But at the end of the day, it's the same. However we interpret it, the result is the same. So it could be that they shut the mouth of the messengers who were uttering the truth by putting their hands on their mouths, or the clear evidences of the prophets were so clear and so, so compelling, so strong, that it is as though they had taken people's hand and put them on their mouth. So metaphorically speaking, because of the truth of these evidences. And so the people had no words to say, or it could be understood as the opponent of the messengers were so angry that they bit their fingers. This is, but actually that's a different, slightly different expression. You can find it in ayah 119 of Surah 3, but many tafsirs refer to this last explanation. In any case, it means that they silence the messengers. Some Mufassirs understood it as the people put their hands on their mouth. You know, when you are laughing at someone, when you find that it's as if, what are you talking about? In any case, at the end of the day, they don't want to listen. They don't find the message of the messengers worth listening because it is disturbing them. And that's exactly what they say. They say, we have doubts and this is very disturbing. So these ungrateful and denying people are described in many parts of the Quran. This, raddu aydihim fi no, sorry, not to this one, but where was it? وَإِنَّا لَفِي شَكٍّ مِّمَّا تَدْعُونَنَا إِلَيْهِ مُرِيبٍ. We are we have disturbing doubts about what you are calling us on to, is an expression that we find in various parts of the Quran. And the fact that we're told only God knows them can mean many things. And one of the meanings, one of the indications is also that they probably were so many of them. So many all across history, and therefore now as well. And these people are not only people out there, but we could also be in many ways like them. So we are told this so that we recognize that state of being in ourselves and distance ourselves from it. Take an appropriate stance so that we do not end up being like them, because these people mostly do claim to believe in God, but with lots of conditions and restrictions. So these people, they follow the path of ingratitude. One sign for us is that if we don't want to follow their path, we have to follow the path of God, the path of gratitude. So these people who are ungrateful against God's ni'mah, God's blessings, they insist on opposing and disbelieving in the face of the call of the messengers and their clear evidences. And they answer the prophets in the same manner. If you look at different passages in the Quran, it's always this, they answer the same one. So it means this expression represents the gist of the stubborn answer, or the answer of the stubborn people, stubborn communities. This is the answer they give to various communities, gave to different messengers of God, but the attitude is the same. And what they say is the same, like in Surah Hud, Surah 11, Ayah 62, the people of Salih alayhi salam, they also tell him, وَإِنَّنَا لَفِي شَكٍّ مِّمَّا تَدْعُونَنَا إِلَيْهِ مُرِيبٍ. Behold, we are we have disturbing doubts, and we have suspicion about the what you are calling us to. And in the same surah as well, Surah Hud, Surah 11, in Ayah 110, also the people of Musa alayhi salam, they tell him also the same thing. They say the same thing. وَإِنَّهُمْ لَفِي شَكٍّ مِّنْهُ مُرِيبٍ. And in other places in the Quran.
Sister Yamina.
Yes?
Yeah, so can we then say that there are two ways of asking for evidence, two very different ways. One is legitimately asking for evidence because there is a major claim and about something unseen, and we need evidence. And the Quran is very welcoming of that. It actually wants us to think and explore and reflect and look at the evidence and the signs around us and in us. And then there's this other form of asking for evidence, and it's like, I think what's being addressed in this verse as people saying, I'm very suspicious, and I don't have enough evidence. But really, it's not about having evidence. It's about a deep disposition in us that we just don't want to accept it. So when somebody, I'm thinking there are situations in which I find myself, I decided this is the case, and then somebody gives me, facts that, I'm misperceiving and everything, and give me all kinds of evidence, but deep down, for some unreasonable reason, I have decided not to accept it. So I keep saying, well, I'm not convinced. But deep down, it just means I don't want to be convinced.
So can we say that there are not two ways? The second one is not even a way of asking for evidence. They are not concerned about the evidences, as we'll see in the coming ayats. Yeah. Because it says clearly the evidence were clear, and when they we'll see why they find it disturbing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it's nothing to do with not having enough evidence. That's what
So they are not truly asking for evidence. There's only one way of sincerely asking for evidence.
Yeah. So I'm very doubtful. Here means I don't want this.
I'm unwilling.
Yeah, I'm unwilling. It doesn't mean, because there are many passages, throughout, as you also mentioned, where people are giving very clear evidences, and they see it and they say, well, even if you do this, we're not going to believe you. So that's that. And it's very interesting. Why does the Quran, highlight this? There must be something very, very relevant for us as human beings that we do this. We do make an excuse that we don't have enough evidence. In reality, we actually have evidence. We just don't want to accept, and that's a genuine human dynamic that we need to kind of face and diagnose. I think that's why the Quran keeps bringing it up, so we can watch out for it.
Diagnosing is definitely something we need to do, because even when we are obstinately resisting, deep down we know that we are. But if you ask us, then we will make 1,001 excuse that why we are in that state, and we'll say, well, I'm not resisting, this is the fact. But deep down we know. And that's why when we are in ghafla, we tend to cover it up. That's the covering, the denying, the kafara. And that leads also to not seeing here the greatest blessing is divine guidance, divine light, because it's going to change everything. It is that guidance, that divine light, that enlightens everything, that enlightens the nature of everything, how everything is meaningful, how everything is truly beautiful. Because even if something is beautiful, but if it is fani and transient and impermanent and mortal, then it's not truly beautiful. The human soul cannot truly love it without sadness. So that truly what makes everything beautiful and everything meaningful and everything uncovers its nature and in its purpose, including our purpose of being here on earth, the purpose of our life, is divine guidance. That's why the messengers are so important, because they are the ones who bring us that divine guidance, the divine message. And when we are unwilling to listen to it, we are not only missing great goodness, khair, but we're also staying in a state of ingratitude, because we won't be able to fulfill the gratitude due to everything, to all the blessings we've been blessed with. So in the next ayah, it will become clearer and clearer that they are not, they're definitely not sincere. They're not truly asking questions. It's not truly doubts. In the next ayah, we are told their messengers told them, can there be, since they say they have doubts, can there be any doubts about God, the originators of the heavens and the earth? It is He who calls unto you. It means it's God who calls unto you, so that He may forgive you your sins and grant you respite until a term, meaning until the end of your life in this world. But they replied, see how the reply has nothing to do with what the messenger is saying. You are nothing but mortal human beings like us. You are nothing but human beings like ourselves. You want to turn us away from what our forefathers, ways, meaning their way of life, their whatever, their values. Here is the true reason for their being disturbed. Well, then bring us a clear authority. قالت رسلهم أفي الله شك فاطر السماوات والأرض يدعوكم ليغفر لكم من ذنوبكم ويؤخركم إلى أجل مسمى قالوا إن أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا تريدون أن تصدونا عما كان يعبد آباؤنا فأتونا بسلطان مبين. So the excuse was they had disturbing doubts, so the messengers referred them to God. Can there be any doubt about God being the sole, only one originator of the heavens and the earth? Because they do not deny that God is the creator of the heavens and the earth. They just don't want God to get closer to them. He's out there. They're fine with that. And so the messenger says, and if he is the creator and the sustainer of all and everything, then isn't he supposed to communicate with you and call you to himself? And the people are clearly not interested in the content of the message. They are not interested in God. So their reply is totally off the point. It's unrelated. They say, you are humans being like us. So if God doesn't communicate with humans, then how are they expecting to communicate with God anyways? Because if they genuinely expect God to communicate with them, but they just have a problem of understanding how these particular messengers are messengers, if they genuinely expect God to communicate with them, they themselves are human beings. So he would still be communicating with human beings at the end of the day. And actually, when we follow the divine guidance sent to us through the messengers, we realize that God communicates with us through all of his creation. That's what ayat are. Ayat means everything is created with meaning and purpose. And therefore, everything has a message for us. God inspires everybody and all beings and all human beings and all other beings, including, we are told in the Quran, the bees and the earth. He communicates with everything, or rather, let's say his creating is his communicating. It is his speech. Just like he communicates through the Quran, and that's why everything in the Quran is a sign, is an ayah. Everything is in creation, is also speech, it is also sign, it also bears meaning. God is communicating through everything. And we talked about this in Surah Al-Ra'd, and that's why the more we follow the messenger of the messengers, the more we understand how God is communicates with everything. He who ala kulli shayin qadir is powerful over all things. So we don't say, you are only human beings, how come you received the divine message? But of course, here they are not sincere. They just don't want. It's like they saw the message, they didn't like it, now they are making excuses about it. But we know that God inspired, for instance, the bees. وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّحْلِ. God, your Rabb, your sustainer, has inspired the bee to take dwellings in mountains and in trees, in what وَمِنَ الشَّجَرِ وَمِمَّا يَعْرِشُونَ, and with what people may build like hives. And we are told that the earth also in زلزلة وإذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها لأن ربك أوحى لها. So when the earth quakes and when the earth yields up her burdens and human being, قال الإنسان, a human being cries out what's happening to her, on that day she will recount all her akhbar, her tidings, her important news, that your Rabb has inspired it. Whatever it's doing, it does as inspiration, as wahi. So it is through the message we understand that he is everyone's Rabb. Everything exists through and with his sustaining. So the more we understand the nature of creation as it is described to us and explained to us in the message that the messengers bring, the more we can not only confirm it, but also we understand how God is communicating with us. But the deniers, they are unaware of this fact because they do not follow the message, the divine guidance, and they do not want to acknowledge this fact. They want to live in their own delusion. For them, God is the creator of the heavens and the earth means God is out there and he's not their Rabb. They don't mind believing in God as long as he's not their Rabb, because they want to be their own Rabbs. And so the messengers are actually pointing to these people the absurdity of their stand, of their attitude towards God, which they claim they believe in, but they only accept him, God, as the creator of the heavens and the earth out there, and they don't want to reflect and accept the implication of what it means that God is the creator of the heavens and the earth. They don't want to accept that God is their maker, their Rabb, their sustainer, their provider, their giver of life, the one who sustains their breathing and their life here and now. And so they refuse to worship God alone and therefore to be grateful to him alone. They want to live as they see fit, in their delusion, of course. Because actually what they think is fit is they don't know what's good for them. And you can see from outside that the way they choose is only harmful for them, since they have no idea of the meaning of their life, the purpose of their life, the purpose of them being on earth. They have no clue. And they want to live life without any preparation for the meaning of death. They are not ready for death. They don't know what is death, what is after death. And death is not only one day we will die when we are, I don't know how many years old. Yesterday is not here, last year is not here, all our past is gone. So as we are being brought to life, what we call the past is dying, is leaving. And of course, they don't want to face that reality. So they cannot, the way they choose to live is so narrow and so opposed to reality, so baseless, that they cannot even fulfill happiness in this world. Because most people, when you talk to most people, they all want to be happy and achieve happiness in this world. Or they say success, but success because it will make them happy. But they cannot, with this attitude, they cannot fulfill happiness even in this world. And they will lose, of course, the hereafter component dimension, which is the eternal dimension. And that is why the messengers start by asking them, can there be any doubt about God, the only originator of the heavens and the earth? And they said, it is God, meaning not the messengers. This is not about us, it's not about the messengers. It's about the message, and the message is from God and about God. And of course, about God means about you, about your connection to God, about what you are doing here. And it is He, God, who calls unto you so that He may forgive you your past sins. And it says until إلى أجل مسمى, until the end of your life, until a certain respite. He gives you respite until a certain time, an appointed term. And this also reminds us that life is fani, is transient, is impermanent. So again, from what the messenger says, it is understood that it is not the messengers who call, but God himself who call unto us, unto people, so that he forgives them their sins, so that he blesses them, so that he reminds them who they are and in whose home and sustainership they are, and to whom their worship and gratitude is due. Because remember, we always say we are always worshiping something, we are always grateful to something, and we either worship false gods and idols, or the true God, our Rabb, true sustainer. So this stubborn and arrogant and deluded, I will add now, people replied, "You are only human beings like ourselves, and you want to prevent us from following the ways of our forefathers. And if that is so, produce then a clear authority for it." They saw the clear signs. Now they want something else. Sultan al-Mubin.
Sister Yamina,
yes.
Can I just share something regarding the ayah that we just finished?
Sure.
When the prophets say that, you know, he so that God may forgive you of your sins and grant you time until a term. In Ibn Arabi's tafsir, or the tafsir, the interpretation attributed to Ibn Arabi, it says
they say Al-Kashani, which was the students of the Qunawi, and Qunawi who was the students of Ibn Arabi.
So Ibn Arabi school, in this tafsir it says Ajalin Musamma, to a certain set time, means God is calling you to achieve the happiness that the capacities that he gave you, that is compatible, or that matches the capacities he gave you. So that you may live until a turn. He's interpreting as so that God can take you according to the capacities he gave you to the happiness that goes with it, to that climax. And then he says, because for each person there is a level of perfection given, and the capacity for it is given, and you know, the prophets are calling us to that fulfillment and to that happiness of fulfilling your capacity for spiritual growth, which I thought was interesting to add.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I will come to that, but I do not take that comes from the function and the mission of the Rasul, but I do not understand it in that particular phrase, because Ajal is always understood as not particularly that we fulfill the potential or not, but there is a potential to be fulfilled, and that's why the messengers are sent to us. That I agree totally. That's why following the messenger is so important. Yeah, thank you. So these people, these stubborn people, they are saying you are only human beings like us, meaning if you're like us, it means we don't see anything extraordinary about you. So why should we accept you as messengers? Why should we accept that God has communicated with you and that the message you brought us is indeed true divine guidance? And if you insist, but they are not sincere, because if this is truly their concern, then just go and check the message. And that's exactly what the messengers are saying. This is what we are telling you, that there is only one maker, one Rabb, one creator, and everything, all worship, all gratitude is due to him. Are you okay with this or no? They do not, they're not contending the message or the content of the message, but the nature of the messengers. What did you want the messengers to be? Either God would, if they are extraordinary and divine or semi-divine, that means God is speaking to you directly. But God does speak to us directly, but in different ways. And we do, the issue is that we do not understand the meaning of the ayat in the creation, the signs and the divine speech and inspiration in the creation. And that's why we need these special people. They are special in the sense that they are more open, more surrenderers, more, and therefore they can receive the message. But if they receive the message, it means anyone else can receive it from them. Anyone else who follows their way, which is the way of God, will start receiving the message. I'll come back to that because that's, I always feel that's very, very important. And that's what Isra also has just pointed to. And so they say, if you insist that you are messengers, then bring us a proof. They want something, they want to see an evidence of your appointment, so as to convince us that you have really been sent by God and your message is from him. But as we saw in Surah Al-Ra'd, when they want particular miracles, we want you to do this and that, which is like, then that wouldn't be a messenger, that would be himself would be doing the miracles, performing the miracles, which is not the case. That's not what the messengers claim. They say we are only messengers. We only say and do whatever Allah, anything with Allah's permission only. So when they want them to perform something, it's against the claim of the messenger and the message. And we saw in Surah Al-Ra'd and in many other passages in the Quran that even when they see the miracles, they either dismiss them as magic or they forget them. Like the people of Musa alayhi salam. They were saved in a miraculous way, and as soon as they left the land of oppression, and Musa alayhi salam was away for 40 days, they started worshipping the idols of their oppressors. They went back to their old ways very quickly. And that's not because they didn't see the miracle, that's because their intention has not been purified. So, and this is because here the true motives is not for refusing the message with clear evidences, and the messenger is, as they said, you intend, they are speaking to the messengers, to turn us away from our ancestors' ways of living. So that's their true concern. It's not, is the message truth or not? Is this truly a messenger or not? They are concerned, they want to carry on living their life as they used to. They don't want to change their ways, and that's why they are disturbed. And that's the true reason they refuse to investigate the truth of the message. And that's why they're making excuses to refuse to believe, to refuse to be grateful to God, to refuse to acknowledge God as their Rabb. So the reasoning is, you are human like us, perform for us the miracles which we propose. And the answer to these claims is provided in the next ayah, ayah 11, where we are told their messengers told them again, true, we are only human beings like yourselves, but God bestows his favor upon whomever he wills of his servants. It is not within our power and it is not within our power to bring you a proof unless it be by God's permission. And it is in God that all believers must place their trust, must rely. قالت لهم رسلهم إن نحن إلا بشر مثلكم ولكن الله يمن على من يشاء من عباده وما كان لنا أن نأتيكم بسلطان إلا بإذن الله وعلى الله فليتوكل المؤمنون. So the Prophet's answer is, we do accept the fact that we are human beings just like you. But God granted us this favor and has provided us with meaning, with revelation. He spoke to us with this message, and this message we are sharing with everyone else. And as for your claim, saying that we must perform miracles according to your request, they are saying clearly, no, we cannot achieve that because we only perform miracles. We cannot perform miracles without God's permission. And the opposite would defeat the purpose. It would be about deifying the prophets and revering them for their special powers, which would be just the opposite of what they are teaching in their message. Because it would be deifying them themselves rather than following them as messengers of God, as ibad, because they are teaching us how to live as abd, how to live as worshippers, as servants. And so they are bearing his message, his guidance. So the messengers answered that performing miracles is not their job. They can only perform miracle with the command of God. And we know that every prophet did perform miracles without being requested by the people, but those miracles were in order to prove his messengership, his legitimacy, not to cater to people who have no intention to believe anyway. And even if the what they want, the want of these people is totally misplaced and totally against the teaching of the messengers. It means they are not even listening. They just heard that you worship only one God and only God, and you follow his path, the path of God, and they don't like it. So no, we follow the path of our ancestors, the path, or we can say, nowadays people don't follow the path of their ancestors. They follow the path of society, of fashion, of whatever is going on. It means anything but surrender to God alone. So afterwards, in order to provide the pretenders with a decisive answer regarding the threats, the prophets clarified their position, saying that we are only human beings. This is a favor from God. Miracles are performed only through his power, his authority, through his بإذنه, his permission. And the believers, those who want to believe, trust God alone, not other people, not the extraordinary things that they are expecting from these people who should be, they think, extraordinary or kind of semi-divine or something like that. And the verse ends with وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكِّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. And on God alone do the believers trust or rely. And the prophets themselves are the first believers, and they say they rely on God alone. So in the next ayah 12, we are told, and how could we not place our trust in God, seeing that it is He who has shown us the path which we are to follow. Hence, we shall certainly bear with patience whatever hurt you may do to us. For all who have trust must place their trust in God alone. وما لنا ألا نتوكل على الله وقد هدانا سبلنا ولنصبرن على ما أذيتمونا وعلى الله فليتوكل المتوكلون. So they are the first one to trust in God alone. In the Arabic here, tawakkul means you are appointing someone as a wakil, a trustee, an advocate, a manager, a disposer of affairs. And this, for someone to be a trustee, he needs to have various attributes like honesty, power, compassion, and no one but God possesses all these attributes together and fully. And the more we know God with his Asma al-Husna, with his attributes, the more we believe in him, the more we will trust him, inshallah, and rely on him alone. And if you look at what the Salihin said, one of the signs of trusting in God alone is that we are scared of no one or anything, or of no one and nothing, because we believe and we know that he is our protector, he is our guardian, he is our wakil, and we rely on him and trust him. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. And it is enough to have God as your wakil, as your advocate, your trustee. And we are told in many instances, like we know, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, for instance, in Surah 3, Ayah 173. Those who have been warned by other people, behold, people have gathered against you, so beware of them. Whereupon this only increased their faith, their belief in God, so that they answered, God is enough for us. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. How excellent a guardian, how excellent a trustee he is. And we also have ذلكم الله ربكم لا إله إلا هو خالق كل شيء فاعبدوه وهو على كل شيء وكيل. وهو على كل شيء وكيل is also repeated in the Quran many times. Such is God, your Rabb, your sustainer. There is no God, nothing worth worshipping except him, the creator of everything. Worship him then alone, for it is he who is the best, he is the wakil of everything. He is the disposer of all affairs, the manager of all affairs, the one who has everything in his care, let's say. وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَكِيلٌ. So the messengers know this, and they believe in God, they know God, they believe in God, they trust their Rabb who guides them to the path which they are to follow. And they know that it is he alone that shows them the way. He is the Nur, he is the light, he is the one who is the guide. And that's why they say, how could we not place our trust in God, seeing that it is he who has shown us the path which we are to follow. And that path is the path that leads to happiness in this world and the next. But this happiness is not the happiness, the ego, self-centered happiness like children playing. No, this is the inner peace, the inner fulfillment, the happiness of the ruh, of the soul. The happiness of knowing, even what seems to others as hardship, that it is happening by God's decree, by God's will. Therefore, it is happening with wisdom, with meaning, with rahmah, with mercy. And there it is related to akhirah, and everything is being taken care of. It just seems to me like this because I don't know the outcome. I don't know, because my knowledge is so limited, but I trust because he knows everything. Wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. God knows everything and you do not know. And so they say, and therefore we shall certainly bear with witness whatever hurt you may do to us. So I put my trust in God when we are not truly believers, when we don't know God. I say, okay, I'm going to trust. Next time something I don't like happen, I say, how can I trust? That's not trusting. I don't know who God is. It means I don't know. Did I know who God is? Through his creation. If I don't know the creation as ayat, remember how ayat is very important. I don't know the meaning of what's going on right now in my life. So my soul, my only criteria is, do I like it? Do I don't like it? This criteria is very misleading. Who am I? What do I know? According to what? Just look at when we were kids. What I liked was not always good for me. A child may like only sweet things, but if he's brought up with sweet things without anything nourishing, he's going to be sick. And so we may want sugar and sweet things in all life, not only in food. I'm using it metaphorically. So what is the criteria? The criteria is when I surrender that I don't know, when I become more and more aware that truly what I know is very limited and so much more is hidden from me that I don't even know that I don't know. And so I surrender and I say, whoever is taking care of me now, he knows. And I trust him because he's the one who is making me want good, for instance. How did I know I prefer goodness over something that is bad? How do I know that justice is nicer than injustice and oppression? I was created with this feeling, with this criteria. So I trust that he is the one who endowed me with all these values. So I trust him. The more I know him through his creation, everything is an ayah speaking of him, about him. And the more I accept who I am with all my vulnerability, my neediness, my limitedness. So I have to let go of that arrogance that I know or I don't know, but still I want to live this way or that way. So when I leave that foolishness and start relying on God and relying on the light of divine guidance and feeling my utter need for divine guidance. Actually, I don't know how to live my life because I don't even know the meaning of my life. It is divine guidance that will tell me the true meaning and purpose of what we are doing here on earth. And so the more I know God and I trust in him, then when something I don't like happens, I don't just rebel and stop trusting, because I say, I can't trust myself, I cannot trust my knowing, so I'll wait until I am inspired with the new meaning, with the meaning of whatever is happening. And I realize that I am actually guided and shown the path and the way in my life. And so when things that hurt, or people here, the people are hurting the messengers, then we bear it with patience, with beautiful patience. And that's why the messenger says in ayah 12, hence we shall certainly bear with patience whatever hurt you may do to us. Because those who have trust must trust place their trust in God. And consequently, because they fully trust their Rabb, they bear with patience. There are people hurting them while they are trying compassionately to bring guidance to these people. They are patient. for their hurting. And they end by saying, وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. And on God alone should those who trust, put their trust, let's say. So it's important to... Sorry.
Is that like an idiom? Is that a way of saying that that's the person to trust, that's the being to trust? If you are going to trust in something, trust God.
Yeah, that's the only... anything else you trust, you will be disappointed.
Yeah, so if you're going to trust...
because he is...
anything, yeah.
He is the only... He is نعم الوكيل. He is the wakil على كل شيء. So we can only make tawakkul على Allah. Anything else, he's not... Other things are all relying on him. So how can I rely on something that relies on something else?
This is also very timely. I mean, because, you know, we all face difficulties in life. I don't want to go into, you know, current news or anything, but just in general, there are always challenges. And to see the world in this light, that if something is happening, it's happening because of a wisdom, and nobody can... Even the people are hurting, you know, here's like people are trying to hurt you, or they are hurting you. At the end of the day, everything is in my Creator's hand. You know, if I'm not gonna pretend as if somebody else is has authority over my life, that this person, you know, stopped me from being here, or stopped me from living, or stopped me from having my peace. There is no such, you know, these people are not... Nobody is able to do anything to me. Everything is happening according to a divine wisdom, and I can persevere. It's a very, very, very interesting way, because when you trust, you can persevere. I know we studied this earlier, this notion that initially it looks like trusting is being passive and being overwhelmed. You know, I'm trusting, but actually it's not. It's a very... you know, through that trust, then you can come back to the challenge and say, you know what, I'm going to do my part, and I am not overwhelmed or scared of you. Even if you're hurting me, I'm not scared of you, because you can't really change my life. Let's say worst comes to worst, you die, and even if somebody, you know, may God protect, wanted to shorten our life, at the end of the day, you can't shorten my life. And if even if you attacked me, you know, God forbid, you know, even if I was murdered, at the end of the day, it was my time to go. Nobody can, you know, cut my life short. You know, I'm completely in trust, and it's not just this world. I have a Creator who has authority over my life, over this world, and the next. And with that, you go back to the world, and it's a very... I don't know, like, it's a very profound way of having patience, because you have patience because you know that what appears to be is not the real story, is not the end of the story also.
And you have courage, but you do not join into oppression and transgression just because, you don't fuel the injustice, because you are totally aware where you stand. You stand your ground in peace and justice. Not just because I was hurt, I don't go and hurt in the same way. I will protect myself as much as I can, but I won't do the same thing. It's a...
And that's part of the patience.
The behavior, the outward behavior becomes more and more balanced and more beautiful. Muhsin, that's the living in the presence of the divine, is the muhsin. And the muhsin exhibits ihsan. Everything he does is balanced and beautiful. Here remember, this surah is related to Surah Al-Ra'd, who just came before and ended again with people rejecting the prophets. And here the same theme is being continued. And as we said many times before, it's important to understand that the messengers are fully human because they show us how to fulfill our human potential as abd. They show us how to fulfill our purpose in life to the maximum. You want to fulfill your human potential as much as possible, you follow divine guidance, you follow the messengers, because they are the people who fulfilled their human potential to the maximum. And as humans, they display the extent of the human potential for us. We wouldn't know. It's like we have a seed, and we have a shoot, and we have a small tree, and you have this huge tree with leaves and flowers and fruits, and those are the lives of the prophets, the messengers of God. And so you see what a human life can be, what is the extent of the human potential. And that's why the messengers are, following the messenger is so important. And so by displaying the extent of the human potential, we can then decide, inshallah, choose to intentionally follow into their path, which is the path of God, which has been revealed unto them, and to which they guide us. And what makes them messengers is obviously the message they carry, the message they live with. They carry this message from God to us. They live with this message and embody it to be an example to us. And that's why they only speak of God and not of themselves. They guide to God and not to themselves. And the message is from God. It shows us how to live in the best way, the way that fulfills our happiness in this world and in the next. في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة. Inshallah. So following divine guidance has two aspects. One that looks to us taking a stand, making the niyyah, the intention to live, to verify the message first and confirm it. And when we confirm it, that's it. We surrender, we accept and live with it. If we confirm it, I know in my heart, I feel that it is the truth, and I understand that it is the truth, but I'm still making excuses, forgetting and busy with other things, I will be the loser. I should make excuses to live with this message. This message is the best blessing, the best thing that could ever happen to us. It brings your humanity out there. It maximizes it to an extent that we are not even aware of. There are things that we don't know that this is what a human being is. And when we follow and live with this guidance, it will be revealed unto us. So our part is to intend to know God as our Rabb, our sustainer, our gifter, our provider. And when we witness this, then we surrender to this. It means we accept it. He is our provider. Therefore, my gratitude goes to him alone. And I stay with that gratitude. When I feel the gratitude, I just don't say, yes, I know it's not from the food, it's from God. It's not from the water, from the job, it's from God. No. I will stay there, reflect on it, and feel it in my heart, feel it swell in my heart. Say, yes, you are the provider. And that gratitude, the joy, the pleasure that I feel is not the joy and the pleasure of the food, for instance. The food is for the body. Matter speaks to matter. but the joy, the pleasure that I feel in my heart, in my soul, in my ruh, is the beauty, the taste of the name Razaq, provider, the giver, the gifter, the Rabb, the sustainer. So I taste those names, being intentionally standing there, aware that this is the names of my Rabb. And so when I do the 5 daily prayers, when I go into prostration and say, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, or when I am standing and read the Fatiha, I say, Alhamdulillah, all those, what I lived during the day will come. I will stand in the presence of the divine as my Rabb, as my sustainer, as the one whose names are truly beautiful, they truly taste beautiful. The Ruh loves them. We long for our Rabb. And so that's the essence of Him alone. We worship to Him alone, and we prostrate before Him alone. We trust and rely on Him alone, even when things seem very hard. We are patient because we know we have witnessed again and again, experienced again and again how merciful, how wise He is. And this is following the example of the prophets, alayhim salam. And the second aspect looks to the receiving, meaning that to actually receive divine guidance here and now, and receive the light and receive that Iman, because Iman is given, hikmah, wisdom is given, the light is given, the inspiration is given. But they are given when I am open to receive them. The light is only, I benefit from the light when my eyes are open, when my heart, my basira, my insight is open. And that the work that I do, the worship that I do, that intention to choose and again and to renew my intention, that's the work that I do so that I stay on the path, and so that when the divine guidance is sent my way, well, it's all there for everyone, accessible to everyone. It means I am tuning myself to be in the reception mode. And so the second one is actually what we live with, but the first one is what looks to our intention, our choice, our choices. So the more we intentionally comply to the first aspect, the more we intentionally live with the intention to know God and be grateful for Him, and remind ourselves to be grateful and make tasbih and repeat the blessed words that will keep us in that frame of being, the more we are prepared, because we don't prepare ourselves. That's the way we are shown how to be prepared, we are made ready for the second aspect, which is the receiving part. For instance, the more we intentionally live with gratitude, whatever is happening, even if we find difficult to be grateful for a particular thing, don't focus on it. There are plenty of other things that I can be grateful for. Focus on the other things that I can be grateful for, but in the beginning especially, make an excuse to be grateful. Find something, grab bit and focus on it. Later, you will find it easy to be grateful for everything, the easiness and the hardship. But in the beginning, if it is difficult to be grateful for hardship, okay, why don't you focus on something else that you can be? There are so many things in our life. Find things that we can be grateful for. Focus on them. And be grateful to our Rabb, even in the midst of hardship, because we know Him. And of course, the more we do this, the more we will know him, the more we will love him, the more we will trust him alone. For instance, the more we will be taught the wisdom and meaning in all events, and therefore we will also see the wisdom and meaning in hardship. We will understand that everything is created with purpose and meaning, that everything is an ayah bearing messages from God. Remember in Surah Yusuf alayhi salam, when we were told we gave him wisdom, أَتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And this is how we reward the muhsin. Because he was a muhsin, he lived with ihsan. It means he lived in the presence of God with that consciousness, meaning intentionally staying in the presence of God, being grateful to God alone. Then he was given the wisdom and the knowledge with which he started understanding the meaning of events, everything, the good and the bad. And when you start understanding the meaning, it becomes easier and easier to be grateful. وَلَئِنْ شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, ayah 7 of this surah. And remember, this wisdom, this hikmah, is the best thing that happens to us, because it's the hikmah, this hikmah, that with this hikmah, when it is given to us, we will start understanding not only the message of the Quran, but also the message in creation of the ayat that the message of the Quran is pointing to and explaining and translating for us. And this hikmah is given to the muhsins, and to live with ihsan is an intention, it is a choice. And so we are told in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah 2, ayah 269, يؤتي الحكمة من يشاء ومن يؤتى الحكمة فقد أوتي خيرا كثيرا وما يذكر إلا أولي الألباب. God grants wisdom unto whom he wills, and whoever is granted wisdom has indeed been granted abundant good. But no one bears this in mind except those who are endowed with insight. That's why we prostrate to God. We intend to be grateful to him alone. We intend to follow in the path of God, the path of the messengers, and our insight will start opening up. And wisdom is given to the grateful, or wisdom is to be grateful, as we are told in Surah Luqman, when we studied Surah Luqman in Surah 31, ayah 12, وَلَقَدْ أَتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ وَمَنْ يَشْكُرْ فَإِنَّمَا يَشْكُرُ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ حَمِيدٌ. And indeed we granted wisdom unto Luqman, be grateful unto God. So what is the wisdom? Be grateful to God alone. Start from there. If you want to start anything, start being grateful. But you say, but people, when we say, whenever we have a gratitude workshop, after 1 hour, everyone saying, but, however, I have this, and can't you see all the hardship? No one is saying there will be no hardship. Can't you find, in the beginning, you will find something to be grateful for. Even you are breathing, even you are drinking water. I may not have had that. Even if you can see, some people can't see. And then we will go beyond this, because we will then be gifted with that wisdom that will be able to see the ayat and the beautiful the ayat that everything is an ayah, that everything has meaning, that everything has been created with a beautiful meaning. It is an ayah. It has an aspect that looks to its maker, its creator, an aspect that reflects the beautiful names of God. And we start seeing that beautiful aspect, that wajh Allah, the countenance of God in everything. We start seeking it because it's so beautiful. And we start seeing it in the apparently or seemingly beautiful and in the seemingly ugly, in the seemingly good and in the seemingly bad, in the seemingly easy and the seemingly hard. And so when the prophets said, then they can be patient even when the people who they are sent to and they are bringing them the best thing in life, they are hurting them, but they can be then patient because they know their relationship is not only between them and the people, but primarily between them and God. And so whatever is happening, including the people around them and the hurting, they see it as coming from God. That's ihsan. They are living as muhsins. And in order to be grounded in ihsan, we start with gratitude. That's we say here. And indeed, we granted wisdom unto Luqman, be grateful unto God. For he who is grateful for his own good, whereas he who chooses to be ungrateful, truly God is Ghaniyun Hamid, self-sufficient, ever to be praised. It means all praise goes to him, whether people praise him or not, because all goodness, everything is from him alone. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. I'll stop here inshallah for the moment.
Jazakumullah khair, Sister Yamina. Is there anybody from the sisters and brothers, anybody who wants to make a comment or ask a question at this time? Okay, so people are typing thank yous and jazakumullah khairs and salam. So, so I take that there isn't any particular comment. Sister Yamina, would you like to give us a homework or like assignment?
My assignment is always like
gratitude.
Gratitude. Find excuses to be grateful. If you forget, make a time. Write it on the walls, and also, gratitude. And what was it we talked about last time? Was it Hasbi Allah?
Yes.
Patience. Hasbi Allah. God is enough for me. Yes, patience, definitely. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you. Okay, then inshallah, we are ending for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, we'll meet next week.
Inshallah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Jazakumullah khair.
May Allah make it easy onto everyone, because this world is funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth resisting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make excuses and help each other and remind each other for surrendering. Some people say, what is surrendering? Surrendering is accept that I don't know, that I need divine guidance, and that I better, if they tell me prostrate, I'll prostrate. They tell me be patient, I'll be patient. They tell me be grateful, I'll be grateful. And try it for a year and see. We've all lived so many years in our own way. Try for a few months this way, and so we'll have something to compare, inshallah. This is what grateful journal is really great. Inshallah. Thank you, Andrea. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam. Thank you.